Hello friends, welcome to the last week of Living Acts 2024. I cannot believe that we have already flown so fast through these 4 weeks. It didn't really dawn on me until I was getting ready for this video. I was like, this is the last week that we're doing this. So this week we are doing Living Acts 2024. Next week, we are going to be doing a 1-week deal thing called A Million Reasons, and so we're going to talk about all the ways that God loves you, because that's something that I have talked a lot about, not necessarily in my videos, but in real life. It's something that is important to me, knowing that depression and suicide rates have gone up, and so I just want people to understand how much they are loved. And then on the 29th of November, so the last weekend of November, we are going to start a Christmas series, and I'm not going to tell you too much about that because I'm going to make an entire video just talking about that one because I am so excited for it. So first, before we get started, I want to thank you. There have been 2 comments on 2 of my videos that were both so sweet and so special to me. No pressure in commenting on that, but I just want you guys to know, if you're watching this, that made my day, and it made me so happy, and it made me smile so bright. So today we are going to be talking about ways that you can live out Acts 2024. So before we start talking about that, we are going to look at Acts 2024 one more time. I am opening up my Bible, so I just want us to understand it. Again, I want us to read over it once or twice before we finish out this series, because I do, again, think that this is a very important video. Very important verse. So it says, "However, I consider my life worth nothing to me. My only aim is to finish the race and complete the task the Lord Jesus has given me, the task of testifying to the good news of God's grace." So I think that this verse, again, I've mentioned it so many times, is an amazing verse. I think it gives me purpose in life, just knowing that this is my purpose in life and not anything else, because we should not fix our eyes on things of this earth, but we are just to be focusing on things above. So we are going to talk about ways that we can bring this verse into our everyday life. We can bring it so that people can see it in us, so that people can people can ask you, hey, why do you like that? And you just say, Acts 2024, that is why. That is my reason for life. And so I think that I told you guys the story behind me finding this verse. I had some friends over for a sleepover, and they were just like, what's the meaning of life? And so then I was like, all right, I'm gonna find out. So consulted the Bible, consulted the internet, and this verse came up multiple times, and I love it. And so ever since then, I've been in love with this verse. So what are some ways that we can fulfill this verse? Well, one of the easiest ways to do it is to not fix our eyes on things of this earth. And I know that it's really easy to focus on stuff like that, especially when you have a job and you're going to be focused on money, especially when you really, really want something, especially when you are not, like, if you don't have a lot of money, then you want a lot of things. And I have struggled with this a lot in the past. Even now, I still struggle with it. It's probably going to be something that most people struggle with a lot in life. But not fixing our eyes on things of this earth is one of the easiest ways to fulfill this verse, because the only point of our life is to carry out the task that the Lord has given us to fulfill, to testify to the good news of God's grace, not to fulfill it. We are trying to fulfill this verse. So that is one way, just not wanting things. And another way is being kind. And so if you go back and look at my video that talked about, I think it was love and kindness, or kindness and it was just kindness. I made a video just about that. I mentioned a lot of ways that you can show kindness to somebody, and so if you want some examples for that, you can go back and look at that video, because I have talked about ways that you can be kind to someone. But it's as simple as taking this little eraser, and let's say that there's a little school person next to you. Not if you're in online school, but let's say if you're in online school, your sibling comes up to you and they're like, "Hey, I need an eraser. Here you go. You can borrow my eraser." It's as simple as that, just being kind and sharing with someone is one great way to do it. Or if your parents or grandparents are trying to cook something and it's looking like it's kind of difficult, you can come over and be like, "Hey, can I help you?" Like if they're kind of making a complicated dish or if it's going to take a while, you can be like, "Hey, can I help you make this? Like, can I..." Or if it's just like, "Hey, can I just help you? Like, what can I do to help you? Can I do the chores? Can I do laundry? Can I make my bed? Like, what can I do to be of service to you right now?" There are more extreme ways to be kind. Obviously, like, you could go on a mission trip, you could go out and spend money on somebody. Those are more extreme ways, but there are so many ways that are free or cost very little. There are so many different ways that you can be kind to somebody, and so that is one of the easiest ways to testify to the good news of God's grace, is just living differently. When I was in 4th grade, my teacher then, I think I might have mentioned him a few times already, he knew the Bible very well. Oh, there goes my dog. And so he taught us a lot about it, and dang it, I forgot what I was saying. One of the things that he told us was that there's just so many ways to be kind to somebody, and he was an amazing teacher to me. He knew the Bible very well, and he taught us that we can just be different. Why can't we just be different from everyone else? Society tells us that we need to conform to whatever they say is correct. There are magazines out there, there are models, there are singers that people say that we need to be just like these people. But we don't have to conform to what society wants us to be, because as Christians we are called out to be different. And he said that phrase so many times, you guys. It is drilled into my skull now, but it's good. It's not a bad thing. It's good to be different. There are so many Christian songs about being different, but just living differently than non-Christians is important. And I'm not saying that if you aren't a Christian that you aren't living the right way, but in the Bible, it calls us to be different from everyone else, and it calls us, so if you are a Christian and you are not living differently than what your life would look like without Jesus, I don't know, maybe you're doing something wrong. I don't really know. But just being different, being kind, not doing what society thinks of us, and I think that that is amazing. It's good to be different. I have been called to be different, and you know what? I lost some friends because of it, you guys, but the surprising thing was that I was not sad about it at all. A couple, like maybe a year ago, if future me came up and told me that I was not going to be friends with these people anymore in just a little while, I would be so sad, because I'm like, oh, I love these people, like they're my best friends. But since I have changed and I have made myself different, they decided that they didn't want to be friends with me anymore. And that's okay. And I was not sad, because I knew that God was my friend. I do not need friends. It is nice to have friends, you guys, but I do not need friends, because God is my best friend. And so when you are different, there's something that changes inside of you. It changes how you think, it changes how you feel about a lot of things. And so, like I said before, I would have been very sad just a few months ago if those friends decided not to be friends with me anymore. But I did not shed a tear over these people, and that's okay. I know that it's good to grieve, but in this situation, the grieving was not there, it was not felt, and that is what the power of God is. He protects us. He kept me safe. He probably sheltered me from some of the things that would have happened if I continued to be friends with them. But another miracle in my life, and I'm probably going to do a couple of videos, or a video about the times that I have seen God in my life, because there have been times, you guys, there have been times. But one way that I've seen God in my life is that the day that I really stopped talking to these people, one of my old friends reached out to me, and we were talking, and she is a very Christian girl, and like very strong, just like me. And so I was very, very happy about that, and I was like, I know that was you. I know what's going on. So that is one way that you can live out this verse, is by just being different than everybody else, not being just like everybody that you see. So being different is good. No matter what society tells you, being different is not a bad thing. Another way that you can do this is by bringing God into your life more. So I'm here, I've got my little desk set up, so I've got a desk, and then right here I have like a little thing that goes up tall. It's got some books, it's got a little mini block calendar, and then over here I have a little shelf, and it has some gel pens on top of it, but on that little shelf there's a sticky note that I wrote that says, bring God into everything you do. So I wrote that at the beginning of the school year in September. It is November now, and it's still there, it's taped on. It's hanging on there, it's hanging in, but that is a way that you can live this verse, is by bringing God into everything you do. And so now, what do I mean by everything? There's a Bible verse, I'm not going to look it up right now, because I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. It basically says that whatever you do, whether you eat or sleep or breathe, you do it all for the glory of God. And so that is a lot like this verse. And so what does that mean? How can you bring God into your eating? Like, I just went out and ate a piece of my mom's banana bread. Like, how could I bring God into eating a piece of banana bread? So that's where it's kind of up to you, because there is no right or wrong way to do this. But bringing God into everything you do could be as simple as, praying over this banana bread and nom nom. Or, just thanking God while you're eating it that you can eat it. And so there are so many ways to bring God into everything you do. So I'll bring up a couple of examples from my life. So, I have a bunch of little neighbor kids. They're all younger than me. And some of them don't know God very well. They're all Christians, but some of them just don't know Him very well. And so one of the ways that I brought God into everything that I do is by talking about Him with them. And so that's bringing God into playing with them. Another way to do it, I've got this keyboard right here. I also like to sing on the keyboard sometime, and one way that I can glorify God by doing that is by singing Christian songs. I don't know if I'll ever make a video of me doing that, because I'm kind of scared. But now you know that. Another way to do it is if you were doing an art project. You could do some kind of Christian art. You could do a cross. I made a cross the other day with some art stuff. Or even if you are just like measuring something with a ruler, like you could think that God is your ruler. So I don't know, that's kind of like a cheesy example, but it's true. I mean, you can bring God into literally everything you do if you like actually sat there for a second and thought about it. I am sure that you could find an example. So another way you can do this, testifying to the good news of God's grace, is in the U.S., Thanksgiving is coming up. It is just over a week away. And so I know that in the area that I am in, we're going back into lockdown again, as of like today. So we aren't going to see anyone for Thanksgiving. That's the first time that we haven't seen anyone for Thanksgiving since I was a baby 13 years ago. Or maybe never. I don't know. But this is the first time that we've done this without anybody. And so Thanksgiving, so my mom had this idea to have sushi for Thanksgiving. And I was really mad about that for a little while. I was like, oh my gosh, what? Like, we're going to have sushi for Thanksgiving? What about, like, the turkey and mashed potatoes and stuff like that? And then, like, I was really mad for a while, and I was like, well, what about tradition? Anyways, we're not doing that anymore, but that's not the point. We're going to have ham for Thanksgiving, but that is not the point here. it was that I was so mad that we weren't doing traditional stuff that I overlooked the fact that Thanksgiving isn't about the turkey or the stuffing, the dressing, whatever it is. It's about giving thanks, having food, being thankful that you have food. And so even if we did have sushi for Thanksgiving, I would have been thankful that we have something to have for Thanksgiving dinner, that we had something on the table, our bellies were full. But I completely overlooked that. I was mad about it for a good 2 to 3 days. So we aren't doing that anymore, but I was mad about it, and a way that you can testify to the good news of God's grace is by just thanking Him for everything that you have. So if you want another example, I made my video testifying to the good news of God's grace, and that gives you a bit of an extreme example of what I did. If you watch that video, I will let you know that I was very terrified during that whole experience. I was scared that someone was going to see me and my mom and I or whatever, and that they were going to be like, what are you doing? And I was scared that someone was going to come and yell at us, and I realized that that's not the point. The point was that we were sharing God, and I think that's amazing. So that is all that I have to say for today. Those were some simple reasons, but this verse can be taken any direction that you want. So you can come up with so many other ways for how you can testify to the good news of God's grace and live out this verse in your life. So thank you for watching this video. I am very excited to make the Million Reasons video next week. I think that later today I am probably going to make a Christmas video, a video about the Christmas series. So thank you for watching. I am keeping you guys in my prayers, and I hope that you all have a blessed day.